With us now, NBC News Chief Foreign Affairs Correspondent Andrew Mitchell, and also retired four-star Army General Barry McCaffrey. He's an NBC News and MSNBC military analyst. General, I want to get to this attack, how the military performed during the attack. But the first thing I want to ask is, hearing Congressman Massey talk, I'm just curious your thoughts on the fact that the UN had actually even come out and said that the Iranians had a significant stockpile of uranium that was enriched to 60% and were mere weeks away from being able to break out and start having enough uranium to create weapons. I'm curious. Obviously, two bad choices here for whomever the president is. But I'm just curious, do you think the cost of inaction would have been more dangerous than the cost of action?
Well, look, this was no question in my mind, a stunningly decisive, bold move on the part of the administration to strike this nuclear production capability. To some extent, it turned into a political proxy fight over how soon could they develop a weapon. I would assert with 900 plus pounds of 60% HEU, they could develop the fissile material for a weapon within a matter of days or weeks. And certainly within a year, they could produce a device. The North Koreans have done it. They're a primitive society. The Iranians are sophisticated with a deep scientific bench. So they were en route to a declared nuclear state. I think the strike probably set them back severely. That doesn't mean that they've stopped their nuclear program. That will only be achieved by a political resolution, diplomatic negotiations, and inspectors on the ground. But it was certainly a good first step. Now, the Iranians have no good options. The next 72 hours are going to be very perilous for peace in the region. They could close the Persian Gulf, carry out terrorist attacks, cyber attacks. But this is also, Joe, a new form of warfare. There is zero possibility of substantial U.S. ground combat forces or Israeli combat forces taking part in this campaign. So the question is, can air power and missiles continue to degrade Iran's options? I think regime change is a very possible outcome. Since 7 October, those demented attacks on Israel, they've lost all their proxies, largely. Their economy's in a shambles. Their leadership has led them down the wrong road.
Andrea, if you could, give us your reporting on our allies in the region, the Saudis, the UAE, Jordan, others who publicly are suggesting their concerns, but privately, at least with my reporting, are glad that Iran's capabilities, nuclear capabilities, have been compromised. What are you hearing?
Well, you're absolutely correct that privately they are very pleased that the capability has been degraded. It remains to be seen from the intelligence assessment of the bomb damage assessment, which is going to be complicated, just how much it has been degraded, whether or not any of the centrifuges were damaged. They're nailed down, they're locked in, so probably they are damaged by the bunker buster bombs. But how much of the 900 pounds of 60% enriched uranium has been damaged? Was it all moved into tunnels? Is it dispersed? And how hard will it be to locate underground? That said, a lot has changed since October 7th because of what has happened in Gaza, the way Israel has conducted the war, the retaliation. Yes, obviously eliminating leadership of Hamas and Hezbollah. Assad is gone, so Iran doesn't have those defenses. But Iran has a substantial military, as we all know. And the fact is that Iran still has resources. Foreign Minister Araghchi, who's in Moscow today, when I interviewed him on Friday in Geneva, right before this happened, he was taking a very hard line, which clearly was part of the hard line that persuaded Steve Witkoff and the president and his advisors, his top advisors, that Iran was stalling, was, as the president put it, tapping them, and was not going to deal because they refused the offer from Witkoff in the U.S. to off-site the enrichment, to accept your enriched uranium at 3.7 to 5%, which is all that is needed for civilian use, and not the extraordinary 60% that they've been developing since they first broke out in 2019. So, as we remember, Donald Trump got out of the deal, the JCPOA, in 2018. About a year later, according to the IAEA and other inspections, certainly U.S. intelligence, they started breaking out. They declared that they were going to start enriching because they were still under sanctions from the U.S., not the Europeans, but the sanctions from the U.S., and Trump had gotten out of it. They felt that they were entitled to, and they've been developing and enriching ever since. There is no excuse, and Rachi, in our interview, could not explain to me what the excuse was for enriching to 60%, since there's no civilian purpose that is conceivable for that level near weapons grade. And they could have clearly gone to a delivery system within a year or so.
You know, Jonathan Lemire, obviously